And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Russell Pierce Raw Review. I'm your host, Ebu Russell Pierce, better known to many of you guys as Backup Hangman. And we're here to talk about last night's edition of Monday Night Raw. But first, please make sure to like the video, comment if you can, subscribe, all that good stuff. Send super chats, because there's a lot to get into. A lot of little interesting developments from last night's Raw, and a couple more matches set for Clash of the Castle in Glasgow, Scotland, which is next Saturday, I believe. So, we're going to talk about all that stuff last night. But first, Rob, what's the main event? Ebu is now in your city. I guess so. If you haven't noticed, guys, I sound a lot better than last week. I'm not fucking chronically ill right now. I'm not terminally sick.
Yes, the top guy in the territory is not injured. He is not working hurt. Oh, one of the top guys in the territory. He is not working hurt. He is not injured. He is perfectly fine today. So we should have a perfectly fine show.
Absolutely. If you guys remember last week, we opened up and I was very somber. I was sick. I was miserable. Raw wasn't good, and the main event was awful with Liv Morgan.
This fucker transferred all of his sickness to me.
Yeah, it was just not happy scenes, as you guys can recall. And it's a much different situation this week because much better Raw, and I'm feeling much better as a result. So we're going to talk about all that. But again, guys, like the video, subscribe if you have not subscribed, and send us super chats with some of your opinions on the things that happened on last night's Raw, as well as the developments and the new matches out of the Clash of the Castle. And while you guys are getting that in, Robert, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Sorry guys, it is indeed my fault this week that we are late. Because I was outside cutting down a treehouse playground thing that the people that we bought this house from put up. So I was a little bit busy, but I'm ready to talk about. I thought Raw was a really good show last night.
Yeah, there was a lot.
I thought it was a very story-driven show. Mm-hmm. I liked the wrestling was really good on the show, besides like a couple matches, and I thought it was really. I'm really enjoying how they're building this Liv Dom Rhea stuff. I didn't enjoy it at the beginning, but now since everybody's trying to grift on Twitter now I'm a believer. Liv Morgan revenge tour. It's time.
I don't know about it's time, and I can't say I'm a believer, but what I can tell you, Rob, is that I don't really have much complaints about Liv Morgan this week. I thought the handling of her this week and her usage made sense for what they're going for. I thought it was inoffensive, generally speaking, and I got what they were doing. And so overall, I really can't get too mad about it. And also, they didn't put her in position to cut a long live promo. She spoke very briefly before getting encountered by Dominic, and she got involved later on in the show with various things. Mm-hmm. But again, like I said, they didn't expose her weaknesses. It wasn't grating. I didn't have to watch her wrestle. She didn't main event the show.
I feel like the thing this week that was different from last week, and I was talking to Peach about this, is that the same thing with Jey Uso, is that I felt like creative this week let them be more of themselves rather than a catchphrase machine, because that's been my whole issue with both of them this entire time, is that they just keep repeating their catchphrases over and over, and there's no substance to what they're saying.
That's really the key. It's the lack of substance in what they were doing. Yeah. And even just having something to do is a gigantic leap from just, coldly saying catchphrases at me. Jey Uso is somebody that spoke on last night's Raw. I know we'll get into that in a bit, but I thought his promo was a big step up from a lot of what he had been doing for maybe 2 months at this point. You saw him actually kind of go into that serious gear. Like, people are trying to do the eats with him, and he was even like, "Nah, hold on, y'all. Let me actually get this shit off."
Yeah, like he was like, "Yeah, bro, like I'm trying to be serious."
Yeah, he's actually trying to be serious.
Niggas talking about his family tried to kill him, and they tried to rip his hopes and dreams away, and niggas yelling "yeet!" Like,
yeah, exactly. Well, because they're conditioned to do so, and I like that he kind of was like,
"My brother is like, dead."
Yeet. Let me just be. Literally, that's what they were doing. But here he was kind of like, "Yo, let me actually be for real right now, guys." So, yeah, man, a lot happened on last night's Raw. That Jey Uso came back and cut that promo. He's declared his intentions. He's going for the Money in the Bank briefcase. Liv Morgan, we got some development to that. She spent the entire night seducing Dominic, and it's been left ambiguous as to whether Dominic is in on this or if he's just kind of like along for the ride, so to speak. But he's clearly being very tempted. It appears like he's helping Liv. Again, it's ambiguous as to whether it's intentional, his help, that is. But that happened. Bron Breakker continues to strike. He destroyed Ricochet last night, and he's set for a match next week with Ilya Dragunov. Dragon Lee finally gets his first match on Raw. And 8 minutes, a big step up from, just simply standing behind Rey Mysterio in interviews and nodding his head.
Shit, I'd have put that shit at Clash of the Castle. Bron and Ilya.
Oh, hell yeah, absolutely. I'm going to get into it in a bit. Like, they added a match to Clash of the Castle that's really going to help that show. And I think it's going to be a good show. But I think it would have been a great show. If two of the matches that they have set for next week's Raw, if they put that on the show, it'd be a great show. But, unfortunately, Triple H is a five-match card merchant. Like, he's allergic to doing
and he doesn't, he refuses to end any stories when they need to end.
He is so terrified of doing 7 matches on a pay-per-view, which is really funny because I'm pretty sure he did that at like Money in the Bank. Like I bet you if I check Money in the Bank, I'm pretty sure that was like 7 matches last year.
I'm gonna look right now.
Off the top of my head, they did the 2 Money in the Bank matches. Cody faced Dom, the Bloodline Civil War. That's 4, right? 4 matches. Seth Rollins' match.
Yep, 7 matches.
Matt Riddle, Gunther. What am I forgetting?
Matt Riddle, Gunther. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Shayna and Ronda Rousey.
7 matches. 7 matches. Yeah, and that was fine. So I don't know why you can't just do 7 here. But anyway, match is set for next week's Raw. And the biggest thing to me on last night's Raw, one of the things that I was on the lookout for was what they're going to do with Chad Gable. Chad Gable was reported by Fightful to be having on an expiring deal. His deal is set to expire literally this Friday. And so my question was, how are they going to handle him today? Because there's a chance that maybe he doesn't get he doesn't get his deal done in time. What are they going to do? Like, is he going to be there? Are they going to write him off? And the answer, folks, was he was very much on the show, and they set up angles and matches for him going far beyond this weekend, because he is now set to wrestle Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship at Clash of the Castle. And he was also seen later in the show continuing his backstage conversations with the Creed brothers. And again, the big Otis tension and the teases continue. So big things for Chad Gable. He's a part of one of the hottest storylines in the entire company at this point when it comes to reactions. This is the biggest push of his entire career, and he is set for more stuff to come this summer. So we'll see how that relates to his contract information. I will have some information on Chad Gable's contract later, so stay tuned for that. I'll give you guys an update on that. I'll give you guys an update on a couple other deals. Fightful provided some updates on the status of other contracts that are expiring. And we'll get into all of Monday Night Raw and kind of look at some of the matches for Clash of the Castle. But again, guys, like the video if you're just filing in, comment, super chat, all that. Give us your feedback. Give us your thoughts on Raw. Give us your thoughts on what's going to happen. What do you think is going to happen with Chad Gable? What should happen with Chad Gable? And some of the other things developing on the show. But without further ado, Rob.
Yes.
Let's get into some super chats.
All right, let's get it. Remember, guys, please remember, read the banner. If you guys have any questions regarding anything, we will answer anything except like direct spoiler scoops. We're not giving you that. But we will answer any questions that you have. Remember to please like, subscribe, and super chat. And for the people watching later on, you might be working a graveyard shift, you might be working the night shift at your job, you might even be working the morning shift. You just want to listen to the show. Please remember to leave a comment after the video as well. Well, let's get into some of these super chats. Sebastian Lozano, $2. Yeet Man cashing in on Big Gunt in Berlin. Chill.
Fuck off.
No.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that.
We're not gonna entertain that.
Yeah, like I don't even think the Money in the Bank personally should be for the world title anymore.
I mean, well, the way Triple H and his team are looking at it is it's a belt, it's a briefcase that can be used on any championship. Austin Theory cashed in on the US belt. I think we should do some different cash-ins coming up though. Like I think maybe not this year, depends on who's holding it, but like I'm not opposed to doing the RVD cash-in, which is stating your claim ahead of time.
Yep.
And getting that belt. You know what I mean? Like RVD, he cashed in his Money in the Bank for a title match with John Cena at One Night Stand 2006. That was not a surprise run-in victory.
That's what I thought Big E was gonna do, because I didn't expect Big E to do the one he did on Bobby. I thought
he did the heel cash in.
Yeah, I thought since Bobby had beat up the New Day, I thought he was gonna challenge him at SummerSlam. But
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for the super chat. Austin Kinkle, $5. I think Yeet Man gets the money in the bank, but then the new bloodline screw him out of the cash in. The heat would be fantastic.
I would not be opposed to it,
I
but
I
if
don't think. Well,
go
go ahead.
ahead.
You first. You first.
I was just gonna say I wouldn't be opposed to it. The only thing is, then you're wasting money in the bank for a year, and it's like, is there nobody else you could give it to that you could maybe have them benefit from it? Because I
Yeah.
think like you could have the bloodline jump Jay without the money in the bank being involved. You know, um,
Yes.
we know that Jay's gonna get involved at some point because he had a backstage interaction with the bloodline at France at Clash of the Cat. No,
Yeah.
at Backlash. So he's
Yeah.
going to get involved, obviously, at some point. I think a lot of this is dependent on when Jimmy Uso is cleared because he's legitimately hurt. And I think they can't progress too much on the Samoan family stuff until he's ready to go to then take the next big step. In the meantime, they're just kind of fighting like Kevin Owens and shit. But yeah, I think you can get Jay in the picture without wasting the money in the bank briefcase.
Yeah.
Even though it's possible that they go in that direction.
Yeah, and I just don't think, because that's part of the reason why the reputation of the Money in the Bank has been damaged, is the losses. Like Austin Theory failed, and Otis didn't even fail. He lost to the Miz. And just all these failures, and Theory failed trying to cash in on Seth, and it's just like I don't think we should do that anymore.
Mm.
Thank you for the super chat. Hush 199. How do y'all feel about Jade's in-ring progression?
I took notice, Rob, because I didn't watch the women's tag live. I was kind of skimming through stuff because I was trying to catch up to the live broadcast because I don't watch Raw like live. I usually like tune in like halfway through and start from the beginning, and I kind of fast forward and catch up, right? But this morning I was watching that match, and I was kind of surprised. Like usually women's tag matches on Raw, like nothing happening. There's no heat. It's not that good. It's clunky. I took notice that this got like 2 segments. The crowd was into it. And I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Like to me, I'm watching and I was like, "Yo, this is a good. This is a very like solid match. Like Zoe's working in well there. Bianca's having a good hot tag. Jade is kind of like just kind of holding her own and doing her thing in there. And what I'm noticing, Rob, is the house show repetition is helping. This is why when you're green or when you're newer to wrestling, the biggest thing is reps. You need to wrestle regularly. You need to wrestle all the time. You
It's
know,
why
it's not.
It's why you see so many young people in AEW do indie dates.
You have to because you're not going to get better at the rate that's necessary. If you're just wrestling on TV every other week, your progression is going to be notably slower than if you're somebody that wrestles 3 to 4 times a week. And that's just the fact of the matter. So Jade Cargill having 8-minute tag matches on house shows 3 to 4 times a week, even though you could even go further than that. And honestly, I wish it was like the old days where you're like pretty much on the road all the time. And because here's the thing on back in the day, you could experiment on house show. You could go fucking 30 just to have the experience under your belt that you went 30. And
Yeah,
obviously that's
FTR said they used to go 30 on house shows with Gable and Rude,
yeah,
just because they felt like it.
exactly. And when you're a young or a wrestler who's still figuring it out, going 30 on the road when you're not on TV is perfect because it's like you can just you can just experiment with shit. You can just test shit out and you know what works for you and what doesn't work for you in a long match. And then you can take all the pieces that did work in that 30-minute match, and then you can have a great fucking 15-minute match on TV. You know, but nevertheless, Jade Cargill has been on the road with Bianca, and I think it's starting to come out noticeable. She's becoming less robotic and just practiced in the stuff that she does know, and she's starting to kind of feel it more. And I'm not saying like she was out there last night looking like Manami Toyota, but I'm just saying it's very noticeable that they have tag team continuity. They have a feel for each other as a team, and Jade's picking her spots and knowing when to come in and do what she has to do. And so that's a good sign. It bodes well for her future, and it's another W under the in the notch and the hat, whatever the fucking euphemism is. It's another reason why house shows need to continue to exist.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for the super chat. Sean Ireland, $2. Get on your knees and beg me to stop. Chad Gable.
Chad Gable is an absolute piece of shit,
Oh
and it's
my god,
beautiful.
he's so beast, bro.
He is appointment television, Rob. This dude fucking
He said,
rocks.
you want me to stop beating this nigga's ass? All right, bet. Get on your knees
He
and beg me right now.
he's been terrific. Like he's just an absolute bastard. And like I said, dude, like the reactions in these segments now, like Monty didn't agree with me when I told him last night on StreamYard, but like they're like getting bloodline level to me now. When
Yeah,
Otis gets in his face, the crowd gets so into it because
yeah,
every city is hoping they're the city that gets to see the big Otis turn. They
yeah.
all love Otis. They buy the ticket. They're sitting in there, right? And they're like, "Oh, is he
Yo,
gonna turn in my
the
city? Is he
reactions in Saudi.
That's what I'm saying. Every city is hoping they're the city, the lucky city that gets to see Otis finally knock Chad Gable on his ass. And so between that and Sammy being just the eternal baby face and Chad is being an absolute bastard, this is clicking really, really well. And it's coming together perfectly. Um, all the elements are there. And so this is like the best all around work of Chad Gable's career. He's always been an excellent wrestler. Like I'm not going to pretend like he's just improved it. He has been this good in ring for like 8 years, right? But
Mhm.
now WWE's finally giving him the platform to grow as a performer and come into his own on the other aspects. And he's pretty much been like an all rounder for about 3-4 years at this point. But now it's really coming together at a higher level. He's more over because of this storyline. He's becoming a bigger star on the show. And at this point, he feels like one of the biggest, most important key guys on Raw. So much so that when the news came out that his contract was expiring, I was like, damn, that would be a big blow for WWE and for the show if they lost Chad Gable. So he's just been terrific. I can't say enough positive things about what he's been doing.
Absolutely. Thank you for the super chat. Isaac C 499. Evil, why is Triple H so against short term stories? Everything has to be cinema.
Yeah, that's a great point. Hunter is very much the guy that sets up a thing and is a long gamer, and it has to go fucking months. And that's fine, right? But I do wish he would trickle in. He used to, and he doesn't do it as much. I wish he would trickle in short term stuff, like things like 2 week stories, 2 week angles. Um, there's a couple, but even like the things that feel short term are like have already been going on for about a month.
Yeah, but the
Um,
thing is, like, he's used to it though, because all the stories that have worked with him, like the Batista story,
oh, they're all
uh,
multi-month long
yeah,
games.
like they're it took it like 3 years for the Batista
Hunter
story.
loves doing long storylines. Yes, that's kind of his thing, his bread and butter. Like I said, at the top of the cards, doing that type of thing is fine,
Mhm.
but you can't have every storyline on your shows just be this like long saga. Like let's like, can we at least can we create match? Here's the thing: he'll create shorter term matchups based off like little pre tapes and stuff. Like he'll do that thing where like earlier today and we'll show like a little interaction two people had, and like that's the justification for a match.
Like, bro, I know Liv Morgan and Dom have something going on. I have seen them getting out of the same car.
For
I
like a
don't
two
have
month.
to wait 3 weeks for them to kiss finally.
Yeah, man. Kaiser Sheamus feels short term, but even that's been set up for about a month now. Kaiser's been talking shit about Sheamus since Sheamus lost in round one of the King of the Ring. But yeah, man, I do wish we would get some little short term mini programs and mini TV feuds, things that like don't overstay its welcome and kind of just go 2-3 weeks. I feel like he did that a little bit, like maybe a year and a half ago, but now it feels like everything is like multi week, almost multi month. Thank you, Isaac.
Alrighty, thank you for the super chat. Black Yakuzu, $10. I
It's not on
had
the screen.
oh shit, I thought I put it up. I know I unstarted. Sorry. I had no issues with Raw last night. It was a good show. Shame the world champion feels so important. Feels so unimportant, or it feels so important. Well, you would think they pull the trigger on Belt and Chad, or does Otis turn at Clash at the Castle?
There's a couple ways this can go. They can either do option A, Chad Gable wins.
He meant unimportant. Sorry.
Right. Chad Gable can win at Clash of the Castle. I would like him to win, right? But this has now gone in a different order than I expected because my expectation, Rob, was that they'd save the third match for after Chad's officially no longer tied to Otis. Because then you can have Chad with the Creeds and he can be the finalized version of heel Chad Gable, and that's when he wins the belt, right? Because we haven't gotten to that step yet, now I'm not totally sure how they're going to execute this because Chad can win and then they turn on Otis, but that's kind of weird. Or Otis can just straight up fuck Chad Gable over and Chad does not win, and then he links up with the Creeds and they're feuding with Chad not being a champion and that being the catalyst of his anger. Like they could do a thing where it's like Chad and the Creeds are feuding with Otis and Tozawa and whoever, and the belt's no longer involved. Or there's the option 3, which is Sammy Chad goes 4 matches rather than 3, which, even though that's a bit excessive, I'll tell you what, if there's anything I want to, if there's anything I want to be a quartet of matches, I'll take 4 Chad Gable Sami Zayn matches on pay-per-view any day of the week, right? But there's a couple directions this can go. All I know is that Chad versus Sammy is a big addition to Clash of the Castles card.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you for the super chat, Black Yakuzu. No, he meant to say unimportant. I've already put that one up. Samgan the Chonko, 35 Czar. I like the Bron Sammy tease. If Sammy retains, I think that's the big match for Money in the Bank. I'm enjoying the explosive Raw undercard. SmackDown needs to catch up.
Raw's undercard is full of a lot of great wrestlers. I mean, you have Bron Breakker, Ricochet, Ilya Dragunov, Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, all regularly eating up TV time. Dragon Lee finally got to just kind of let loose just a little bit, and then in the 8 minutes he got, look at what he did, man. You know what I mean? With he's just awesome, and that's just scratching the surface. And we really haven't been even gotten to see Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne really kind of let loose yet too. So that's the thing. Like, the undercard is very explosive, very exciting, and dynamic, right? And we're still scratching the surface on some of the guys that can come in. And if and when they get to figure out Dijak's contract, you could throw him in that mix as well. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. I'm assuming he meant let's see here, Bron. Yeah, the Bron and Sammy tease. That was interesting. Bron Breakker was backstage, and he was looking on at what happened with Chad Gable in the angle. And he was just kind of like, so that's the champion, huh? And I could definitely see a situation where Bron goes for that after Chad's done. And I'll tell you this. If that is the direction and Sammy's facing Bron, Rob, Sami Zayn is not beating Bron Breakker.
Absolutely. No.
He's not beating Bron Breakker. Bron Breakker will win that Intercontinental Championship.
The first important match that Bron Breakker has, whatever title it is, he should not lose.
Yeah.
The way he's been built, he should not. This is basically the Brock Lesnar 0-2 push.
As
he
it should
not lose.
As it should be. So that's what we need, more of this. And I hate, Rob, the people that want every young guy to be given with the patient approach, because, bro, like sometimes it's good to just make a point with somebody. They used to do it in wrestling. It was such a common thing. They still do it in Japan. Yuma Anzai in All Japan Pro Wrestling is doing big things over there. And I don't even think he's like 25. But sometimes it's okay to just identify someone you think is a big prospect and just fucking commit to them and really, really, go hard with them. And that's
Okada. That's how Okada got over in his first major match, which was for the IWGP World Heavyweight title. He beat Tana.
Rainmaker shock. Yep. And here's the thing: you can't give everybody the rocket ship, but when you look at the people that you really see as like, this is going to be a talent that is going to be a big part of what we do for a long time, sometimes just make that point. That's why Tiffany Stratton getting title matches on pay-per-views, like, that was a good thing. That's why Bron Breakker getting this push is the right move to do. Realistically, he should have been called up 2 years ago, but he waited and waited. So if you're gonna make Bron wait, when he gets to the main roster, he needs to fucking eat. And so I'm loving what they're doing with him. I think he's appointment viewing. I really get excited about what Bron Breakker does on every week of Raw. And I would not oppose him winning that Intercontinental Championship.
No, absolutely. Thank you for the super chat. Corey David, $2. Another Ricochet loss is not gonna help re-sign him. Listen, I need Ospreay versus Ricochet in 2024. I just have to. I gotta have it, bro. Bro.
I'll say this. I don't think it's a guarantee Ricochet leaves, but I do think that out of all the expiring deals coming up for WWE, I feel like he has the biggest chance of being the one to switch to AEW. Does that make sense? Like, Chad right now is at the height of his career, and they want to keep him. I think he stays. Becky Lynch, I'd imagine she's going to come back. So on and so forth. Balor already re-upped. Seth Rollins re-upped. Drew McIntyre re-upped. The next major case then is Ricochet. Natalya, her deal is up, but she wants to stay. Ricochet, I'm not saying he wants to leave. Like from all indications, is he's content with his job and he's there with his girl. But if there's anybody who might go, I think he has the biggest chance of going, primarily because of the fact that he would do well in AEW from a wrestling standpoint. And one of his biggest and most vocal supporters is Will Ospreay, who's like the hottest star in that company. So I'm sure Tony Khan would love to have Ricochet, and I think that's a possible switch that would happen. Rob, I don't know if you're speaking, but nobody can hear you.
Shit, sorry, I was on mute. Witty comeback, 5 pounds. Raw is so good, it has me worried about SmackDown. Bro, other than the main event of SmackDown in the Bloodline, it's skippable. What's going wrong? I don't think SmackDown's, me personally, seeing as how I watch SmackDown live every week, I don't think it's that bad. Tommaso Ciampa and Austin Theory had a good match last week. And they had several good matches on last week's SmackDown.
I think go ahead.
I just don't like how we have to have star power, or we have to have a lot of stars on the show, or a lot of good in-ring workers for the work to be considered good. There's been a lot. Randy Orton has had good matches with people that didn't think were good on the show, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting the way the conversation has shifted. Like I look at Twitter, and like the current narrative is basically that like SmackDown sucks and Raw is like the great show and stuff. And I do prefer Raw because they have like more wrestlers that I want to see. But I actually don't really hate what SmackDown has been post draft. Last week, like outside of the Bloodline angle and the AJ one, like it was kind of just like an all right episode. But generally speaking, I think they're doing pretty well with the smaller cast that they have there. We said this on air, Rob. Like I don't think SmackDown needs to have a big roster of people because of the way the show is formatted. But for me, the reason why I've been kind of cool with the show is I feel like we're seeing the rejuvenation of both Randy Orton and AJ Styles at the same time. And I think it's been cool to see. Like AJ's kind of like, this is the best AJ Styles we've seen in 4 years, and Randy Orton's kind of on the best in-ring run he's maybe had ever. I don't know if that's a hot take, but he's doing really well. And beyond that, I mean, you got Cody Rhodes. Carmelo Hayes is doing pretty well with this call up and some of the character stuff he's doing. The Street Profits are baby faces again, which is nice to see. Yeah, DIY is just getting going. If there's any big criticism I have right now of SmackDown, to be honest with you, it's that I'd like Andrade to do like something interesting. And at the moment, it just looks like he's going to go back and forth with Legato, and that's just not super interesting right now. I'd like him to target.
Is Andrade going to enjoy anything he's ever doing again?
I mean, well, no, and that's fine. No, he will not. And he will continue to tweet passive aggressive things unless he's main eventing every pay-per-view ever and he has the chance. But that's kind of the course. That's the Andrade experience, right? But
bro, he's so beast, bro. He's just like, hey,
he's a monster.
man.
He's a
he said, y'all
monster.
saw what I was doing in CMLL, man.
Yeah, absolutely. It was good shit.
All right, thank you for the super chat, Corey. And this is the last super chat for right now. Corey David, $2. Chad Gable with the Creeds in the background last night of the promo segment or the interview segment with I forgot who it was. I think it was Drew, if I'm not mistaken. Chad, yep. Team Gable is going to be tremendous.
Yes.
But we will see if that even takes place, considering there's no contract news about Chad Gable. So
I'll give you some.
Go ahead.
They think they're gonna have it wrapped up by the end of the week.
Okay. Okay, but like y'all can't like we are the WWE him, because that doesn't work anymore.
I'd imagine they're past that part of the discussion. I'd imagine.
I'm scared, bro, because these niggas can't even pay Angel Garza. You can't give Angel Garza a quick 600, 650K, 700K. Like, come on.
Let's be honest. Is Angel Garza worth $600,000?
No, but like
Bronson Reed doesn't make that, and he gets pushed more.
You can't give him like a quick 400, 300K.
Oh, sure. He's making 350K. I'm just saying. But
these niggas, bro.
Let's see what happens. I like Garza. I actually would like him to do more on the TV.
It doesn't, and the way they're pushing it with Garza, it's like on SmackDown. It looks like they're about to push him out of the group.
We'll see. We'll see how that goes.
All right. Ibu.
Yes.
Where was Raw last night?
Last night, Rob, Monday Night Raw was in Pennsylvania. Where in Pennsylvania, you ask? They were in Hershey, PA, in the Giant Center, to be more accurate. They did a bigger house at last night's Raw than they did the last time they were in the Giant Center last year. And the show opened up with a camera shot following some fans to their seat, and we saw the entrances going into the arena of Bianca and Jade, Bron Breakker, and the Judgment Day. And Isla, Dawn, and Alba Fire could be seen watching Bianca and Jade in the background of their shot. So Michael Cole said he was joined by the always controversial Pat McAfee, which was an interesting way to brush off some of McAfee's comments yesterday about Caitlin Clark. But we opened up with a recap of what's been going on with Liv Morgan and how she beat Becky Lynch 2 times in a row, and then she kissed Dominic Mysterio, right? So Liv comes out, and she opens the show. She welcomes everybody to the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour. She says that she took out Rhea Ripley, something no one else could do, and became the women's champion and put Becky into early retirement. And then the cherry on top was kissing Dominic, and she boasted about how many social media views the video received. So Dominic enters, and the crowd boos every time he speaks, and Dom said he didn't know what game Liv Morgan was playing, but he warned her that Rhea Ripley would kill her when she returned. And Morgan said Ripley would kill Dom too. And Dom said, Liv Morgan told Dom that she could make it all worth it. And she stepped close to Dom as he backed into the corner. And Morgan wanted to take everything from Rhea Ripley, and that included Dominic. She put her hands on Dom as he resisted until Balor ran out to get in between them. And Balor said that Dom and the Judgment Day wanted nothing to do with her. And Liv Morgan wasn't sure about that, but she agreed to depart. And so she kind of ruffles Dominic's hair a little bit, and all seductive and flirtatiously. And then she kind of walks away as Dom is conflicted and Finn Balor is in between the both of them. And that was the opening segment. It wasn't very long, which is it was surprising. Like Raw segments, or opening Raw segments, I feel like they usually
take 15 fucking minutes.
They usually take 15 to 20 minutes, right? This was like 5. Like this legitimately all happened in like 5 minutes. Like she came out, she's like revenge tour, LOL, I kiss Dom, haha. Dom is like, yo, you're bugging, you're bugging. Liv is like, yo, I know you want to fuck. And Dom's like, well, and Finn Balor's like, no. That was a segment, basically. And about 5 minutes, they didn't expose anything. It wasn't like super elongated or fucking drawn out. And I'll tell you this, I think I said this a week or 2 ago. Dominic being a big part of Liv Morgan's on-screen presence right now is going to help, for me at least, because Dominic, even though I don't find Liv generally to be particularly good TV, I think Dominic is usually pretty entertaining TV. He's pretty much found his kind of his niche, his role on the show. And so Dominic basically just being that like ambiguous horny nigga is pretty funny. And so they're gonna play up that mystery. They're gonna do that love triangle stuff, and WWE is usually pretty good at that type of thing. And so I thought this was fine. I didn't really have any issue with this. What did you think of the opening segment, Rob?
I enjoyed the opening segment because I like I said earlier in the show, for people that weren't here that are just popping in, I have not enjoyed the work of her and Jey Uso for a while because of the way creative allowed her, not even allowed her, didn't allow her to be herself. I feel like Liv Morgan, even though she's not a knock it out the park 5-star Punk, Cena, all these guys level promo, she when she's herself, it works sometimes. And so I like the fact that they allowed her to like actually cut a human promo with human instincts rather than her just being like, it's my revenge tour. I'm taking everything from Rhea Ripley. She like I said last week, rather than her going through the entire backstory of her and Rhea Ripley's thing, I enjoyed her basically being like, you know, I know you enjoyed last week. Guys, this is not a harassment angle. We need to stop saying this. It makes absolutely no fucking sense that people are saying this is a harassment angle, because if you were here 2 years ago, which you probably weren't, Rhea Ripley was doing this exact same thing to Dom Mysterio. Remember, Rhea Ripley kidnapped Dom Mysterio twice. Legitimately kidnapped her. He kidnapped
Well,
him twice.
one of the big reasons why it's not is that there's a very strong chance that Dominic is in on this with Liv, and he's just trying to play it off because he doesn't want mommy to be upset. So,
Bro,
you know,
if
there you go.
he didn't want what she was trying to sell, he would have been pushed her or threw her out of the ring or something.
Sure. I think why this is starting to come together at least a little bit. Like we'll see how it evolves in the next few weeks. But part of what's helping it come together is Joe said this to me, Rob, the other day. Joe Holbert of Wrestle Purist. He said that part of why Heel Liv sucks is that she doesn't really know what she's trying to do or trying to be. And it was true. Like she'd come out for these promos, right? And it was like, what are you like trying to do? What are you trying to be? Are you trying to be like? Are you like angry? Are you crazy? Are you this or that? It was really hard to get a read on what she was and what like there's a revenge tour, like you know what I mean? And with Becky, like it was just hard to find like a something that clicked there between the two of them and a direction to take. But right now it appears that she settled on chaotic temptress. She is a chaotic temptress that's going to seduce Dominic because that will in turn upset the woman that she despises, which is Rhea Ripley, and it's the ultimate revenge. She basically is being this way to be vindictive, and if nothing else, it's very clear that she's having fun doing this and playing this role. And yeah, like I said, for tonight it worked. So don't really have any complaints about the opening segment, and again, part of that is also because it didn't go too fucking long. We got right to the wrestling after this, Rob, because after this, Sheamus was talking to Jackie Redmond. And he said he was pumped to get in the ring with Ludwig Kaiser. He said he used to think Kaiser was simply Gunther's announcer and coat rack, but he realized that maybe Gunther was holding Kaiser back, and maybe there's more to Kaiser's bark. Sheamus said he was on the cusp of 15 years in WWE and has faced the best. There's only one way to gain his respect: to put on banger after banger. And so he walks through Gorilla, and then he gets chop blocked from behind by Kaiser, and Kaiser attacks Sheamus until the officials break it up. Rob, these guys went about 14 minutes, 2 segments, and they beat the fucking shit out of each other. They're chopping each other, they're slapping each other, they're elbowing each other, they're literally spitting at each other, they're cursing at each other. They're
Bro,
trading.
he's like, yo, fucking Sheamus, bro. I love Sheamus so much, bro.
He's the man. He's the fucking man. He cannot have a soulless match on TV. He can't have a soulless match in general because he's like Bryan Danielson used to talk about this. He's like, I want to fight with my heart, and it sounds so tacky, but like Bryan Danielson, wrestling is a feeling-based thing for him. He has to go out there and feel it. And if he doesn't feel it and he feels dead inside, he doesn't want to be there. It's why he left WWE, because he stopped feeling it, right? And he's that type of dude that wrestling is like he needs the physicality to feel alive. You know what I mean? It gets the emotion out of him, right? The spirit. And Sheamus is very similar, you know, because he goes out there and he's gonna make you have his match. He's not gonna play your game. You're gonna fight with him, right? You're gonna get in there and you're gonna scar him up and bruise him. And these guys are slapping and chopping and forearming and literally, like I said, spitting and cursing at each other. And they're going back and forth. And Sheamus's knee is getting targeted, and Kaiser's working the knee, and he's kicking the knee and PKing the knee, punt kicking it over and over and over again. Sheamus is like, "Is that all you got? Come on, come on, you bitch! Come on, bring it on!" And they're slapping each other, going back and forth, beating the dog water out of each other, right? And Sheamus gets some high knees. He goes for the 10 beats of the Bowser, and Kaiser counters that. They're doing all kinds of cool reversals and shit. Again, just a physical battle, 2 segments, 14 minutes, and ultimately Sheamus loses because he's on the top rope and his knee gives out. It was given out throughout the match, and Kaiser knocks him off the top rope, kicking him in the knee, and that was enough to get the pin because there was just nothing left there. And Kaiser gets the biggest win of his career, a clean victory, a clean pin over Sheamus in the opener of Monday Night Raw. Ludwig Kaiser continues to up his stock. He's been cutting great promos lately. He's been showing he's more than just a tag team guy, and he had a hell of an opener here with Sheamus. What did you think, Rob?
This match was fantastic for the simple fact that I enjoy wrestling like this. I enjoy when two guys just go out there and just start literally just beating the shit out of each other with basically like, what's the word I'm looking for? With no thought about it. They're just like, yo, we're gonna have this match. We're gonna beat the fuck out of each other, and we're gonna basically shoot the shit on live TV. And that's what they did. I enjoyed Sheamus basically getting tired of it and just being like, yo, you're weak as shit. Hit me harder, bitch. I enjoyed that. I enjoy Sheamus's work, and I can't wait to see where this goes forward. I don't know what they do with Sheamus going forward. I don't know if they have another match when Sheamus is healed. But
I don't know if you. So Rob, you didn't see the online exclusive promo?
oh no, I did not.
Sheamus was happy as shit. He's like laughing and chuckling about his scars, and he was like, "That was good. That was good." And he looks at the camera. He's like, "Let's do it again," and just walked off. So he seems real happy with what happened there. You know, this kid brought a fight to Sheamus, and that's kind of what he wants. So it looks like we're gonna get this again. And again, I'm not complaining. This match fucking ruled. God, Sheamus is such an asset to this show. You know, he is such an asset to Monday Night Raw. You can do this anytime with me. You know what I mean? Opening the show, pause, and just giving me a Sheamus match that goes this long and they just beat each other.
Yo,
that was unfortunate. We're gonna just power through that one. But this is an awesome opener and the match of the night on this show. Okay, so we got some Coyote QR codes, and Damian Priest approaches Dominic and the Judgment Day in the back, and Balor assured him of the situation was taken care of. Priest asked about Ripley, and Dominic said everything was fine. Priest suggested that they settled some scores tonight and remind everyone that they run Monday Night Raw. So the Judgment Day are on the move tonight to take care of their separate business. A trainer was checking in on Ricochet, and Ilya Dragunov approached him. And Dragunov said that he could tell Ricochet was not 100%, but Ricochet didn't care. And Dragunov said, "I'm not here to stop you because I know guys like us." He said we need to live unhealthily close to the limit. He said Ricochet told him that if he could walk, he could fight. Dragunov wanted him to be cautious because Bron Breakker was wired differently. And Ricochet said, "I'm wired differently." It said, "As are you." And he said, he told Dragunov, he said, "So are you, and that's why we're here." You know, and it's true. I mean, look, people like Dragunov and Ricochet, they're not conventional WWE superstars, and we know this. WWE is always going to have its certain identity and their certain mold of guys that they like, right? You know, and ultimately to go there and deal with all the kind of bullshit that kind of comes with being in WWE at that type of as that type of wrestler, and the power through, you got to be wired differently. And Ricochet, through all the ups and downs and bullshit he's been through in WWE, he continues to just kind of fight through and try to carve his own spot on the roster. Yeah. So, he told Dragunov that he's going to smack the fake tan out of Bron Breakker. And Michael Cole on commentary is basically like, "Good luck, Ricochet." We got a Dragon Lee video package. Dragon Lee is making his entrance, and we got a video package, and they basically was like, "Yo, if you don't know this dude, this is Dragon Lee." And they ran a package to just kind of reintroduce him, which was nice. And he went 8 minutes and 34 seconds with Finn Balor. Mm-hmm. And 2-segment match. In the first segment, Dragon Lee did some ranas, got them to the got Finn Balor to the outside. Crowd immediately starts clapping because he's doing like all the gesturing and all the stuff that the luchadors do to get the crowd into the match, and he does a fucking fantastic tope suicida to the outside.
He damn near landed on the entrance ramp.
That dude flew. He flew out that fucking middle rope to Finn Balor. Balor had to eat that shit on the chest, so that was sick. And so Dragon Lee fought back and chased McDonough off the apron coming out of the commercial break. Balor went for the sling blade, but Lee used the great reversal into a sit-out powerbomb. That Dragon Lee kind of like spin into the fucking like Liger bomb is so nasty. It's so dope. But McDonough was getting involved in this thing, and Dragon Lee does like a dive to the outside. He gets to the top rope. He does that kind of like he went for that like what's it called? That like double stomp deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Dragon Lee did some super kicks to the outside. He super kicks JD McDonough on the outside. When he gets back in the ring, Finn Balor drop kicks him and hits him in the corner with a coup de grace. So Finn Balor wins after heavy Judgment Day interference in a 2-segment match that went about 9 minutes. This is definitely a big step up from Dragon Lee just not being active. I think we need to build from here. I thought I was glad I got to see him wrestle and do his thing. Again, more of this. Let's build on this. Let's go a little bit longer. Let's start getting him some wins, and I think we'll be back on track with Dragon Lee. But this was a nice start from what he had been doing. What did you think of this match, Rob?
I enjoyed this. Finally, we have a Dragon Lee match on the main roster longer than 6 minutes.
Yes,
it was fantastic. Balor is still one of the guys. He's not world title level, obviously, but he's Balor is he's a good hand in the basically the age that he is. And what a good hand is, if you guys don't know, is it's basically a guy you can plug him into any match, and it would at least be a 2.5, 3, maybe you get a 3.25, 3.5. And so it's fun to see him still be able to do some of the things that he used to do. Dragon Lee had a very good showing. I like that Dragon Lee, he does the Rob Van Dam thing. And if you guys don't know what the Rob Van Dam thing is, when Rob Van Dam used to have TV matches on Hardcore TV and TNN, he used to do certain parts of his not every single bit of his offense, but he used to do his big parts of the offense that he knew would get himself over, so that it would make him get himself more popular, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed him doing the cannonball suicide dive. I enjoyed him doing the trying to do the double stomp, and he dives on Carlito, and he does all the things that he does. Like when he did that, he had that great match with Dominic on Raw, the outside Hurricane Rana. And so I enjoy that he Dragon Lee manages his time well.
So. Yeah, I agree. I think they're probably going to do Dragon Lee and JD on an upcoming Raw, and that'll be a way to get him a win. And they had good matches in NXT, so I think they could do an 8-minute deal next week and get him a win there, and that'd be nice. So yeah, good piece of business there. So following this, Sami Zayn was seen walking through the back. Oh no, sorry, I forgot the post-match angle. There's a lot of Dragon Lee's getting beat down. Braun Strowman and Rey Mysterio ran out to save Dragon Lee, and Braun Strowman knocked the heels out of the ring, but they escaped through the crowd before he could run them over. Sami Zayn walked through the back, and Sonya Deville was seen speaking to Natalya in the background. So Damian Priest has an idea for Carlito if he wanted to run with the Judgment Day. He said, listen, why don't you, because he basically said, I thought y'all were going to be able to figure out this Braun Strowman problem a long time ago. And he told Carlito, hey, man, you want to run with us, man? Why don't you take care of the Braun Strowman problem? And why don't you go to the Pierce and make a match tonight? So Carlito is shook, and he doesn't want to do this, but he has no choice. And so Carlito is going to face Braun Strowman on this episode of Raw. R-Truth appeared, and he told Carlito that being a part of the Judgment Day was tough, and that when you're down, when you were down, they kicked you, but when you're up, they still kicked you. And Truth said those are the best days of his life. And the camera panned out to reveal Miz, who was baffled, and he reminded Truth that they're currently the tag champions, that Judgment Day stole his TV. Truth told Miz he was obsessed with Judgment Day, and he needed to move on. Miz was like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're the one who still talks about them. So that was your awesome Truth bit of the week. There's about 50 seconds of comedy, which is fine. And again, like I said, this being their actual role on TV is what it should be, which is literally short bits of like just comedic levity. The problem is that they're holding the tag belts, and those belts should not be on them. But if they were not the tag champions, this is what they should just do on Raw. They should just do short comedic bits like this on the show. So hour 2 of Monday Night Raw, Sami Zayn was in the ring, and he came out to a big reaction. He said he was happy to be back in Pennsylvania, where he won the Intercontinental Championship. And he said he hasn't been able to enjoy it because he's had a thorn in his side in Chad Gable. And he said it's gone for too long, and that he invited Gable to the ring so that they could end it right now. And so the Alpha Academy music hit, but it was Maxine Dupree, Otis, and Akira Tozawa. And Dupree apologized to Zayn because Gable wanted him to know that he didn't deserve his time tonight. And Dupree said she had a message from Chad Gable, and Zayn told her she didn't have to do this. And so Dupree reads this prepared statement from Chad Gable, and the statement referred to Tozawa as a failure who pretended to be a ninja, Otis as a child who lost his Money in the Bank briefcase, and Dupree as a knockoff Barbie that nobody wanted, and that the only way this ended was for Gable to get his IC title shot, and the crowd is chanting for Otis. At this point in the segment, Rob, I thought, holy shit, Chad Gable didn't come to TV. Like, he's fucking sitting at home until they get his deal right. So they did that, and Sami Zayn agreed to defend his championship against Chad Gable at Clash of the Castle if it meant ending this. And so Zayn dropped his belt because he wanted to speak to them directly. And he told Dupree, Otis, and Tozawa that they didn't have to take Gable's crap anymore. They're better than that. And Zayn had been in their shoes before, and he knew that they needed to separate themselves from Chad Gable. Chad Gable then surprisingly emerges from behind, and he attacks Sami Zayn. And Gable hammers away at Sami Zayn until the crowd is chanting for Otis, who's pacing around conflictedly. Gable, he holds up Sami Zayn, and he tells Otis to hit him. Otis doesn't budge, and so Gable smacks Otis in the face. Tozawa gets in between, and Tozawa's clenching his jaws. He's really frustrated at this point. And Dupree pulls Chad Gable away, and Gable starts mocking her. And he starts demanding her to get on her knees. He's like, get on your knees. Beg me to stop. beg me, get on your knees and beg. And so Maxine actually cowers and begs and gets on her knees to beg Chad Gable to stop assaulting Sami Zayn. So she starts to do that. Tozawa and Dupree got on the apron and Gable is admonishing them. Otis then steps to Chad Gable's face. He's really upset. He gets right in Chad Gable's face. The crowd goes fucking nuts. They are going insane for this at this point. Yeah, it was this face off right here. They're losing their minds, right? And so crowd is going crazy for this. And then Sami Zayn attacks Gable and inadvertently tosses him into Otis. And Otis knocks Dupree and Chad off the apron. Otis was unsure what to do, but Otis gets back in the ring, right? And Chad and Sammy are literally in between Otis, like hit him, no, hit him. And they're basically trying to direct him, right? And then Otis just grabs Sami Zayn and hits him with the world's strongest slam. Otis leaves the ring, and Chad Gable is posing with the Intercontinental Championship belt. Otis picks up Tozawa and Dupree on his own and carries him to the back. And the crowd is going crazy for Chad Gable. They're chanting "You suck." So that was the angle. We spoke a lot about this earlier, but I'll just say that again, it's just the hottest thing that Chad Gable has done so far in WWE, and it's cool to see him in a storyline that feels this big. So I'm into this stuff. What do you think of the segment?
I loved this segment. I love heel Chad Gable. Isra is here. She's not in the StreamYard, but she's in the chat.
Isra, it's good to see you. We love you. We appreciate you. Hopefully you can get out of jail soon, and we'll see you back on one of these shows. But thank you so much for passing by.
She is saying that she is back. She will be back next week.
Thought I'd be back. I'd be back next week. Thought I'd let you know. Love you. Bye. We love you too, Isra. Thank you, and we can't wait to see you next week. So that's good news. That's a nice pop right over there. So you got that to look forward to, guys. Isra's coming back next week to the Raw review. Rob, what did you think of this angle?
I love this angle. I love heel Chad Gable. Heel Chad Gable is doing some of the best work of his career in just being a piece of shit like that. He's just like, yo, like, why do all his constant? I love his constant questioning every week. Like, why do you all suck? And why are you all so bad at your jobs? And I love his demeanor and the fact that he's now basically like shitting directly on the Alpha Academy. And I like that when Akira Tozawa got in his face, he was like, what the fuck are you gonna do about it? All you do is lose. And so I enjoyed that aspect of it. Next week will be interesting because it all depends on, like you said, if WWE gets it done like they said, and it all depends on what happens at Clash at the Castle. Because the way Gable keeps saying we're all going to go to Scotland and we're going to win my championship is basically making me think that they're going to probably cost him it again. Either that or they do it and then Otis turns on him afterwards.
Yeah, you can go either way with it. I'm really excited for that pay-per-view match, and I believe it's next weekend, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so Clash of the Castle, we got Chad Gable versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship. That show looks to also have the second match between Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles. The first one was given 5 stars by Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. And this one I'd expect to have much more heat and emotion. So 2 matches on that show that look to be fantastic. So that's a big one for Clash of the Castle. Okay. So following this, Bron Breakker approaches Adam Pearce because he watched the segment and he was laughing at Sami Zayn being the champion, and he said that he would break Sami in half. And Pearce wanted to know what he wanted, and Bron congratulated Pearce on finally putting him in a match of real competition. And Pearce said he didn't deserve it, and the only reason he got it was because Ricochet asked for it. He said Ricochet, unlike Bron, knew about respect, and Bron planned on teaching Pearce about respect. Pearce didn't put him in the King of the Ring tournament, and nobody is holding him back now. That's kind of what Bron was talking about. Backstage, Rob, we saw Chad Gable approach the Alpha Academy, and Gable was thrilled. He said, "Oh man, I loved your performance out there to Maxine." And he's acting like they're all in on this thing. And he's like, "I loved your performance, faking the injury and stuff." And Dupree's like, "No, I'm really hurt." And Gable's like, he's like, "Look at you, staying in character, right?" And Tozawa was like, he's like, "Boss, I might be hurt too." And Gable was like, "Yeah." And he looked at Otis, and like he was about to get pissed at Otis, and we're like, He's like, come here, and he kissed him in the cheek, and he's just like,
my star pupil.
He's like, my star pupil, and he's just like, he just said, I'm looking forward to them winning the IC title as a team, and they all look like they fucking hate his guts. Ricochet comes out, and this was another 2-segment match. Awesome action here. Bron Breakker hit the ropes at allegedly 23 miles per hour, according to Michael Cole, and gave Ricochet a wicked lariat. He picked up Ricochet and stood on the steel steps and gorilla pressed him and threw him into the barricade, going into commercial break. What's it called? So Bron whips Ricochet into the corner. He looks over at Samantha Irvin, who was not happy. Ricochet comes back with a springboard clothesline and a lion salt for 2. Ricochet avoided Bron's running attack and hit a super kick and a recoil. Ricochet went to the top rope, but Bron scales the ropes and brings him down the Frankensteiner.
That Frankensteiner was so fucking gas.
He is a machine.
They don't have a fucking photo of this, yo. WWE, bro.
He is an absolute machine. This dude just blitzes up there like a fucking monster and just brings him down. And then he leans his body on the ropes and he's just like, takes the straps off. The crowd is doing the barks and he just nails him with a spear. Bron Breakker beats Ricochet in 8 minutes. This is the longest main roster match Bron Breakker has had. All of his matches have gone roughly about a minute long, if not shorter. He's been absolutely killing people. As we know, he killed Cale Dixon of NXT Level Up a few weeks ago in a matter of seconds. Ricochet took him 8 minutes, but ultimately was another victim. And Bron Breakker wanted to decapitate him with the steel steps like he did Dixon. And Ilya Dragunov emerges and stops him. Ilya fights him off, and Bron escapes through the crowd. And Ilya checks on Ricochet. I thought this rocked because Bron Breakker rocks. What did you think, Rob?
Bron Breakker is fucking great at what he does, and it's a shame. It's actually kind of crazy. No, I was a advocate of Bron staying another year in NXT when he turned heel last year because that's what I like. I like the fact now that they do, okay, you have a run as a babyface, and then you stay down there for a year and try out a new character and then see how that works. Because they did it with Roxanne. Roxanne's been there for years, and they just turned her heel, and they're basically going to keep her down there to see how the heel works, the heel gimmick works. And so Bron Breakker and his heel stuff, the way he doesn't even do heel things. He basically his way of doing heel things is I'm going to do everything with as much intensity as possible so that I can break you in half and win this match. And so when Bron Breakker wrestles, it's a different level of intensity. It's a different feel and it's a different vibe. And I'm very, very excited to see what he does in the future. Even though this is another loss for Ricochet, I'm not really like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not really scared for Ricochet. I don't know what you do at this point because Ricochet hasn't had a belt. And that's not the speed belt. I mean, even though they won't let him even bring it on fucking TV. Ricochet hasn't had a belt since 2019. And so it's like, what do you do with him at this point? No, I'm lying. He hasn't had a belt since 2022. So at this point, what do you do with him?
We'll see. I think in the immediate future, he's going to be in the Money in the Bank ladder match because he's always in there to do cool shit.
But I'm tired of watching Ricochet. Like, I'm tired of watching Ricochet do all these flips and not win. Like, bro, fuck. Yep. I need Ricochet winning something, please.
I hear you. So the next thing on the show was Rey Mysterio backstage with Zelina Vega, and they approached Dragon Lee. And Rey told Lee that he would have won if it wasn't for Carlito. And Rey said that he would get his payback soon, but they needed to take out his protection first. And that's why Rey was going straight for Judgment Day and Damian Priest. And Rey said he's going to deliver that message tonight to Damian Priest. We saw Kiana James backstage doing an interview because she had to make her debut against Natalya. And we got that match, and it wasn't particularly long, but I thought this was like well worked for the time we got. And one thing I noticed about Kiana is like she's like I'm not even totally sure what the hell her character is, and I don't know how that character is even going to work on a main roster where they're not as cartoony as NXT. But as a worker, she's very solid. And so this is like 3 minutes, and it's not much to say other than it was like a well worked 3 minutes, and Kiana got the win. Do you have any opinions on this one, Rob?
Very well worked. And Natty obviously has seen the discourse on the internet about her posting all these videos and all these sequences, and she never does them on TV.
Yes.
So she clearly took some of these sequences that she's done on the internet and brought them to TV, and they were nice.
Yes.
Kiana James, I feel like people were talking about the anti-reaction that Kiana James has got on TV, but people have to understand we haven't really seen much of her outside of her trying to get a job from Adam Pearce or something. So, but I mean, over time, I feel like she'll get over.
Mm-hmm.
Whether she's a heel or a babyface, we don't know yet, but I feel like she'll get over.
Right. Kathy Kelly was backstage with the New Day, interviewing them about the Authors of Pain and Karrion Kross. Xavier Woods said that Cross's plan wasn't going to work, and Kingston said that they were the best to ever do it as a tag team. Kofi said that a lot of teams have tried and failed to get in between them, and that ALP would be next. They were starting to do their New Day Rocks routine, and Karrion Kross cuts them off. And Kross said that the power of positivity was dead. And Kingston warned Kross that they still hit hard, and ALP would find that out tonight. And as they left, Kross is like, Woods! And he said, like, he just told him, like, you wouldn't have to follow Kingston around too much longer. And Woods did kind of, like, listen to him a little bit before they left. Sonya Deville was seen approaching Natalya, who was really pissed off. And Natalya said, enough is enough, and it's time for a change. Which that's a famous Owen Hart line. So it looks like Sonya Deville is getting into Natty's head. And she went to speak with Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler. They really didn't want to pick up and buy anything she was selling. But we do know that the Baszler and Zoe were posted up because Jade and Bianca were on Raw tonight. Braun Strowman faced Carlito. He squashes him in a minute 25. He just squashes him. The big thing here is that the other Judgment Day members beat him up with chairs, and he was getting jumped. And Strowman he goes for Dominic, but Dominic is crawling backwards up the aisle, and Liv Morgan runs in to be Dominic's shield. So the general gist of this part of the storyline is that she's going to protect Dominic to try to curry favor with him, and it worked. Braun Strowman did not attack Dominic once Liv got in his face.
It was said on Twitter. I don't know if this was by Wrestling News Now. It was said that Dom whispered to Rhea, "Meet me at the hotel."
When did he say that to Rhea?
Wrestling News Co. The
Rhea?
one that always, not Rhea. Liv said to Dom.
What are you talking about?
No, Dom's. It was said that Dom whispered to her, not said out loud, but he whispered to her.
To Liv Morgan, correct?
Yes, Liv Morgan. Yeah,
okay.
I don't know what I said.
You said Dom. You said Rhea, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
I'm cooked. I need to sleep.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah. So what the fuck? So Liv. Yeah, basically, Dom whispered to Liv, yo, like, you know what I'm saying?
Meet me at the hotel.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going to go on with that. I mean,
so that definitely happened because Dom and Liv were not seen at the end of the show.
Yes, which we will get into when we get to the end of the show.
Yep. I don't know why Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee didn't run out to return the favor and save Braun Strowman here. I didn't get that. The next thing was
bro,
Bianca.
I hate that. Like I hate that aspect, especially like watching a lot of old stuff now. At some point, when the heels are beating up the babyface, at some point the babyface ran out. I don't understand why people like beat these people up and nobody just does anything.
It's very strange. Usually WWE is pretty good at like showing characters leave the building to justify them not saving someone. Like sometimes they'll have them backstage like, all right, man, you're good tonight. All right, cool, I'm out, or whatever. And then like someone gets jumped and they can't get like they usually think that part through, but they didn't here. It just didn't really make any sense why Ray wouldn't save him. Gable was seen in the background talking to the Creed brothers, so that's something that's still continuing. Okay, so Bianca and Jade Cargill come out to a good reaction, and they were kind of just cutting a promo, and they went back and forth with Stark and Shayna, and Adam Pearce basically was just like, y'all want a match? And he just made the tag team match, and so we got a tag team match player. It was a championship match. It was a women's tag title match, and they went 9 minutes, 2 segments. This got a decent amount of time, and I was like pretty happy with it because, like I said earlier, I thought they were actually having a pretty good match here. And it was nice to see Jade have a match that was longer than 2 seconds and not be a squash. And it was nice to see Bianca and Jade have a tag match in general that wasn't a squash. Shayna and Zoe were very formidable here. They went back and forth with the 2 tag champs, and they were having a good match here until it got interrupted because Isla Dawn and Alba Fire got involved, and this went to a DQ. And it looks like they want in on the women's tag belts. And I think we're going to get that one. I think we're getting a 3-way at the pay-per-view because had this have been a victory and then they do the run-in, then you're looking at probably a 2v2. But because they didn't beat Shayna and Zoe, that tells me that they're still going to have a match at Clash of the Castle. So I'm assuming a 3-way tag match here at the pay-per-view.
Yes, and I'm not mad at that. I would actually like, I don't know, the unholy union just need to win the belts at some point. So,
I don't know.
That.
They should get them over before they do anything like that, though. I don't think the people are going to give a fuck if they're holding the tag belts.
No, obviously they should get them over, but
get them over.
They're not doing the supernatural thing anymore, so
which is good. That wouldn't have worked. So Kathy Kelly.
Oh my god! Next segment. If it is what I think it is, next segment, God is good.
All right. So Kathy Kelly was interviewing Damian Priest.
Oh, never mind.
I was gonna say, what are you talking about? This is an interview. He said that Judgment Day has had success tonight, and it felt good. He said Ray has been a thorn in his side for a long time, and while he respected his fight, Priest would close the door on Dominic's father. Drew McIntyre approached Damian Priest, and the crowd is going crazy, chanting CM Punk at this point. And McIntyre said that Priest looked happy, and Priest said, "I am happy, dog. I'm the world champion. What about you?" And McIntyre told him to enjoy it, and that this was as high as he would be in his career. And McIntyre always believed in Priest, but that he made things personal. And McIntyre said he'd be seeing him soon. After this, Rob, Jey Uso came out. And why don't you talk about this one?
Oh, my God, bro. There is a God. God, and he is great. Guys, for the first time in the last probably 4 months, Jey Uso became a human being and talked about his feelings and talked about how the bloodline has made him feel. And he talked about his path and his journey to where he is right now. And you know what he didn't do, Ibu? No, he didn't do.
What didn't he do?
He didn't pause and wait for the crowd to say yeet. And
no,
when he did pause and the crowd said yeet, you know what he did? He said, "No, guys, I'm trying to be serious."
Yeah, it was really noticeable because basically he's given his perspectives on where things have gone in the last year. He thanked the fans for their support of him because, I mean, there was no guarantees that Jey would be a successful singles wrestler. He's been a tag guy for his whole career. And he basically was kind of like, man, you guys stuck with me. A lot has happened, in my career. Last year in Money in the Bank was the Bloodline Civil War. And now this year, what if I just went to win the Money in the Bank? And he was just kind of saying, guys, this journey's been crazy, but thank you so much for being there with me, being by my side. He thanked them for his support. He spoke about the state of things with his family and how he's no longer involved in all that. And yeah, man, it was just well done. And it was encouraging because, like I said, Rob, one of my big issues with Jey, like, we could talk about the in-ring stuff, and like, he's not the best worker either, and his matches are very simplistic. One of my biggest issues with Jey was he used to be one of the most interesting characters in WWE TV. He used to be one of the most layered characters in WWE TV. He had depth. He had like all these like various motivations for why he did what he did. He was so interesting and compelling to follow during the Bloodline stuff.
I was just watching the Bloodline Civil War build the other day, and it was the promos he was cutting were tremendous.
Yeah, he was a really good promo. The stuff with Sami Zayn in Mania season was so good. And to see him reduced into what he had become was just very, very disappointing. And so if he could harness being that over and actually being the old Jey, it'd be welcome. And this was a middle ground that I very much welcome because, again, it was a promo with substance. So he basically was just kind of like, man, I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. And he's going for the Money in the Bank briefcase. So that was the segment. He made his entrance. The camera, it was shot in the crowd, which is a cool thing. I like that they did it from there. Like, he just cut a promo live in the audience from the view of the audience, like not from the view of the ring to up the stands. And Yeah, I just like how that whole thing was handled. That was a good segment.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jay Uso, for finding out that you were a human being again.
Right. Kathy Kelly was interviewing Lyra Valkyria, and Kelly asked how Becky Lynch was coping with last week's loss. And Lyra said that Lynch was disappointed, but that she knew that she would come back around and make herself better. This was notable because she's basically saying Becky will be back. She said that that's how real winning was done, and that was something Morgan knew nothing about. Lyra said that we wouldn't have to watch Morgan as champion very long. So I think that that's like Lyra is the next challenger for Liv Morgan, given that they've set up like some stuff with them and some animosity there between the two. Liv's going to focus mostly on this kind of Dominic melodrama, but I think her next major match is going to be with Lyra. And I'd imagine that's maybe like a Money in the Bank type of thing. Yeah, and so what's it called? Lyra's kind of just talking about how she's because Kelly asked her, how are you gonna do, like, what are you gonna do without Becky by your side? And Lyra told her that she could stand on her own 2 feet, and she's shown it. And she said she heard what Jay Uso said about Money in the Bank, and basically declared her intentions to go enter Money in the Bank. And right at that moment, Io Sky attacks Rob, and she beats the hell out of her, and she's crazy. She wants a rematch because if you remember, uh, uh, um, Lyra barely squeaks by Io in the semifinals of the Queen of the Ring tournament, and that's having repercussions following that match.
Yep.
Worth noting is that Io is back in black leather, kind of like she was in her days in NXT. This kind of felt like the Poppy the musical artist. It felt like the Poppy era of Io Shirai. So Io is going to fight Lyra again. That match is made for next week. I almost wish it was at Clash of the Castle because their first match is really good. But yeah, man, we're getting an Io match next week, and I mean, you can't complain about that. They're doing Io Sky versus Lyra Valkyria next week on Raw, and they're also doing Bron Breakker versus Ilya Dragunov, which is a fucking big one. They had a match last year in NXT that was fantastic. So, 2 really nice matches set up for Monday Night Raw next week. So after this, Rob, the Authors of Pain squash the New Day, and basically the gist here is that Xavier Woods, Cross is trying to get in Woods' head and show him that like Kofi's holding you back. And I know a lot of people are down on the Final Testament, and I get that. I guess here's my hot take, Rob. My hot take is that Cross hasn't been bad since switching to Raw. I think his promos have been pretty good. The problem with Cross tends to usually be he's either over pushed given how what his output is, or his matches just suck. But right now he's in a mid card position where it doesn't feel like he's over pushed. He's in a mid card where he should be. The problem now is when it comes time for Cross to wrestle, is it going to be any good? And usually it isn't, right? So that's the big thing to look out for here. But other than that, I actually don't hate the story. What did you think about any of this?
I've always agreed that Karrion Kross was a good promo.
Yes.
It's just that the bell has to ring, and we know what happens with that. But I enjoy. I'm not saying he like any of this is bad. I just my only disenjoyment with this was like Xavier Woods basically losing in 3 minutes. And I was just like, I didn't want this to go like 10 minutes or whatever, but I was like, they couldn't at least get like 5-6 minutes that they all just give him 3. But other than that, I just hope they don't break up the New Day. I don't know if you guys have seen, but it was said today that Big E is getting stem cells. He's currently with MVP trying to get stem cells. So if this is leading to what I think it's leading to, hey man, I have no problem with it.
I hope it works. I really hope it works.
I need Big E back, bro. It's like, bro, Big E was so good, and his energy. The New Day just like I love the New Day. Don't get me wrong, but the New Day does not feel the same without Big E at all. They just don't feel the same. The energy is not there. It's not the same happiness that they used to have. So hopefully, bro, hopefully it works.
Yeah, I really hope so too. I miss Big E. He's a hell of a wrestler. I'd like to see Big E wrestle Gunther. And man, don't get me started, Rock, because now I'm gonna start fantasy booking Big E matches. You know, And I'm going to start thinking about Big E versus Bron Breakker, Big E versus Bronson Reed, Big E versus Braun Strowman, Big E versus Gunther, Big E versus Chad Gable, and it's just going to make me sad. But let's just cross our fingers and hope this works out for him. So after this, longtime wrestling fan Jackie Redmond is back here, and she's interviewing Isla Dawn and Alba Fire and asking why they would attack the tag champions. And Fire said that they haven't gotten the same opportunities as everybody else. And Dawn didn't like the sound of Clash of the Castle in Scotland without them. And Dawn said that Belair and Cargill looked pretty with their title belts, but those good looks are about to fade. Basically, we're going to get a 3-way tag match at that pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Your main event was 13 minutes and 25 seconds, Rob. Rey Mysterio faced Damian Priest in the main event of Raw in a 2-segment match. And I said this on Twitter. Here's my big takeaway of this match. Rey Mysterio, I've been watching wrestling for 21 years, Rob. And in those 21 years, I can't tell you how many matches I've seen where Rey Mysterio where if it wasn't for him just kind of like making it into something, it would be a nothing happening TV match. But he's so good and so special that he just kind of makes it work, you know? And with this match, basically Ray just kind of sold until it was time to kind of do his comeback. And when it was time to do his comeback and do his counters, the fans were super into it. His comeback is just timeless. That fucking run underneath, he ducks the clothesline and runs forward, and then jumps off the middle rope to do that kind of turnaround cross body. And it's just great every time. Rey Mysterio is terrific. He turned this into something here. He does like a cool kind of like Rana Frankensteiner thing on Damian Priest at the top. Gets him in for a 619 and a splash. The crowd starts getting real into like those big near falls. But right as they're rumbling, the Judgment Day get involved, unfortunately. And Dragon Lee comes out for the save. Not like a super dynamic save. I wish they kind of agented this to be a little more like exciting and explosive. But basically, he's going to jumps off the steps and it's kind of like this, like a forearm to Carlito. And Rey Mysterio is like looking on at that action on the outside, and then he gets caught with the South of Heaven and loses the match. Very kind of basic agent thing there, just kind of like run in, babyface save, interference, distraction, win. And like that's kind of like par for the course, like Raw booking. And if there's anything I would challenge the agents to try to come up with more creative and inventive match finishes and be a little more dynamic with it. Just do more fun things. Like Dragon Lee could be fucking fighting in the crowd at the Judgment Day and maybe jumping off a fucking guardrail and doing a Rana or some shit. Just something cool. Remember Ricochet was doing, he did a moonsault, a shooting star press off a balcony a few months back. Kevin Owens and Sammy used to have really creative finishes to their matches on TV. But anyway, regarding this match, I thought it was solid. Rey Mysterio is terrific. Damian Priest after the match, he got his licks in, and Drew McIntyre beats the shit out of the Judgment Day. He's taking out everybody, and then ultimately he gets caught with a choke slam to an announce table by Damian Priest, and the Judgment Day stand tall. So a good ending to Monday Night Raw. The crowd is chanting for CM Punk. I feel like Drew is going to lose. I get this feeling, Rob, that Drew McIntyre is going to lose to Damian Priest because Punk is going to screw him. And Damian Priest will end up going to SummerSlam to fight Gunther, and that's where he loses the World Heavyweight Championship. That's not an awful direction, but I just prefer if Drew just wins in Scotland. I don't know. What do you think, and what did you think of the main event of Raw?
I loved this because I love Rey Mysterio. So like Rey Mysterio is just he's like you said, the way he finds ways to. It's not a different match every time, but it's not the same match every time. If that makes sense. The way he sells, and he has different combinations of comebacks for every match that he does, and he knows how to sell well to really get over that he's getting beat, that he's really undersized, and that he's not supposed to be winning, but he knows that he's very smart in the sense that he knows there's some things that he's limited in and really can't do anymore. If that makes sense, because if y'all seen Ray back in the day, Ray was doing some. Y'all think he's doing Asai moonsaults now, but she used to was crazy, and so I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the angle that took place before and after, during and after the match. And if you guys noticed, some of y'all were saying earlier it was a joke, but when Judgment Day came out, where was Dominic Mysterio? Where was Dominic Mysterio?
Mhm.
Everybody from the Judgment Day came out. Carlito came out. JD came out. Finn came out. But there was no sign of Carlito. I mean, no sign of Carlito. No sign of Dom Mysterio. So I don't know. It's very interesting to see what we get next week coming out of this. And I think we get a Drew. If they didn't announce it, I think we'll probably get a Drew versus Damian face to face next week. So that should be something.
Yeah, so good stuff.
If Drew doesn't have a match,
right? Good ending to Monday Night Raw. And that was the show, guys. Get your super chats and get your opinions in on the show. What you think is going to happen? Your thoughts on the Clash of the Castle card? Sorry, because we're signing out soon here. So Rob, let's fire those up.
All righty, let's get into the first of the last few super chats. Isaac C, do you regret the AJ washed comment? Oh fuck, Isaac C, do you regret the AJ washed comment, Ibu?
This doesn't ring a bell. I've never said this.
No. There was a tweet you made that was a quote tweet of him talking about him facing Roman, and you quote tweeted and said, "Who gives a fuck about AJ Styles in 2023?"
Never happened.
You remember this?
Never
remember this?
Never happened.
And then what? He went on SmackDown and did a springboard 450 like a beast he is.
This never happened.
Yeah. Vernacular 499. Rey Mysterio being built like my Dios and still carrying matches in 2024 is awe-inspiring. Truly one of the GOATs and deserves all praise.
He does have an uncle gut, which is so funny. Ray has an uncle gut, and he's out there flying around and shit. He's just terrific. He's just terrific.
He came back noticeably bigger when he came back on SmackDown. I was like, bro, I almost said, yo, is Ray back on that shit?
Let's get some Dragon Lee Rey Mysterio tags, brother.
Yeah. Hey man. I'm not opposed to it. Jumanji Hunter, $2. Over under 1.5 title defenses for Liv.
I don't know. She's gonna fight Lyra. I don't know if she's gonna face Io Sky. What other baby faces would they have to even throw at her? I can't think of anybody.
Natalia's turning. It looks like she's about to turn.
Turning. So who else would it be? Becky's not there. You can do.
Bianca and Jade have the tag belts. I don't think they're on that show.
They're not even on Raw. No.
Damn, bro.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know who. I think she's gonna focus her shit mainly on this storyline. I think when it comes to the match, she's just gonna do maybe a mini program with Lyra until Rhea Ripley is back.
Absolutely. Some people said Zelina.
They could. I mean, they could do that as a TV match. You know, they could do that as a TV match.
Yeah, I guess so. I think for the super chat and the last super chat, Jumanji Hunter, $2. Drew, Union and the Piper all losing would be bad for the Scots.
That's the thing. We need a big win there. So hopefully it's Drew McIntyre. I don't see Piper Niven beating Bayley. I don't think that Isla Dawn and Alba Fire are winning their match. So again, that leaves Drew McIntyre.
Now see, it's interesting that they made this a 3-way because they make 3 ways. That means they don't want somebody getting pinned. So do you think that they made this a 3-way because they might be switching them and they didn't want Jay and Bianca?
That's why it's a possibility.
Yeah. Because I could see them losing the title belts in Clash, and then I think it's too soon for a match like this personally, but they could do the title loss in Clash, and then they try to get it back at Toronto. They fail, and I could see them doing Jade versus Bianca at SummerSlam, but I think it's too soon for that.
That's the thing. I originally thought they were going to go to SummerSlam, but it kind of feels like it just feels early. I'm seeing how they're going, and it just doesn't feel right. The thing is, what's the biggest type of tag match you could make for them at SummerSlam if they're not going to break up? What's the biggest match you could make? I don't know. I feel like Becky Lyra would be big time, but Becky's not around.
Yeah, Becky's not here.
If Becky
Liv
was
Rhea,
here, what the fuck? That would be so weird.
Liv Rhea probably. And I think Rhea doesn't win. I just don't think she wins that because it would either two things are happening. She's winning and she's still not going back with the Judgment Day, or the Judgment Day is like, "Ha, we tricked you."
Can you guys hear me? Is Rob in a different planet?
No, I'm thinking out loud. Sorry,
Rob.
I heard what you said.
Completely different question.
What'd you ask me?
What is the biggest possible match you can make against Jade and Bianca as for the tag belts? Did the chat understand what I was
asking? I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know, bro. I'm not thinking about I don't like the women's tag. I don't like the women's tag division. I don't really care for the women's tag division, so I don't know. I don't really know. I can't really tell you, bro. If they bring back,
maybe a completely like separate tangent.
maybe no. I'm not mad high, bro. I'm off like a bunch of Tylenol because I'm sick. So like,
bro,
I'm not
asking Rob about like the women's, like what's the biggest women's tag title match, and he's like, "No, I think Rhea's gonna be Liv." I'm like,
I'm sorry, brother. Sorry, I'm summed up, brother. I'm sorry.
Like, this man's on drugs. Yeah,
no, I don't really know. I just don't, unless they bring back some legends or something, which is something they don't do anymore. I just don't see what's the biggest match you could do.
What about a TN? What about like a TNA thing? Who could you tag with Jordan Grace?
That's the thing. Who does we have to stop? TNA does not have the best women's division in the world.
All right. Who's the biggest TNA women's wrestler besides Jordan Grace?
Gail Kim, but she's retired.
Yeah, like that's not, you know what I mean? So that's my thing is like, what's a big matchup you could do? What if you fucking
Charlotte and Tiffany? If Charlotte's ready.
Maybe Tiffany and somebody.
Tiffany and
people are saying Masha Slamovich, Naomi and Jordan Grace.
Okay, guys, listen. Masha Slamovich is a good wrestler, but she wouldn't make like people be like, holy fucking shit. Like that's
but I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, like I wouldn't mind it, obviously. It would be a good match, but Tiffany and Nia Jax. But Nia Jax is facing
Nia Jax is getting a title match though.
Yeah, so
it can't be her. Yeah, what duo could you put together here? I think Becky needs to just kind of come back. I don't know.
What do you do? Because
Becky and Lyra. People are.
This is why I am so disinterested with this division. This is why I'm just so disinterested with this division. Because they're just like, there's no division. That's the problem. All these tag teams that you see. Okay, I guess not. All these tag teams that you guys see are like pretty much thrown together. They're makeshift tag teams. So I don't know what you do. I don't know what you do. I don't know if you heard me, Ibu, but I said all these tag teams are pretty much makeshift tag teams.
What's the biggest makeshift tag team you could make to throw against them?
Tiffany and Charlotte, Becky and Lyra. No, that's not a makeshift tag team. They have a relationship. But yeah, probably just Tiffany and Charlotte. Bliss and Cross, we not doing that.
Oh my god! Oh, that could be it, bro. Fuck.
Io and Dakota, no.
It could.
We've seen them hold the tag titles before.
It honestly could be Nikki Cross and fucking Alexa Bliss. Yeah.
Hey man, I'm not gonna say Mercedes was right, but hey.
Anyways. Next super chat.
Black Yakuza $2. Drew is 100% losing at Clash Market. I don't see that. Especially with CM Punk coming back. I just don't see that. Not coming back in the sense of like he's coming back soon, But like, I don't, bro. He got hurt like in January, and I think the recovery time for with the injury that he had,
I think Punk's ready to go.
yeah, like I think he's ready. So he's been on multiple Raws without the sling. So maybe we get Drew and Punk at SummerSlam.
I think that's happening regardless.
Yeah.
So
I
think that's happening regardless.
We'll see. I don't know what currency this is. Karthik, 110 try. I don't know what currency this is. Please let me know in the comments. Everything on Raw clicked other than the LWO stuff. Dom Liv isn't my cup of tea, but it clicked in it and it's grounded in Liv, Rhea, animosity. If it had Punk and Cody, Raw would be the best variety show.
Oh, definitely. I think it's going to get even. I think it's going to be taken up a notch when Punk comes back, just in the sense that like right now Raw is a collection of really good upper mid card stories, and I think like having a main event level one with Drew and Punk, where they can start doing some physical angles, will take it over the top for the summertime. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah. Punk. As much as I dislike CM Punk, I can't like deny like his some of the stuff that he has an impact on the roster. So I don't know. I see him feuding with Drew. That's going to be good, and we'll see what happens in the future. So that's all the super chats I think we had.
Awesome. Awesome, Rob. You need to get some sleep or some rest.
I am very sick.
You need to get recombobulated. Folks, this has been the Russell Pierce Raw Review. I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. I've had a good time here. Thank you so much for watching us. If you haven't already, please like the video. Make sure to subscribe to Russell Pierce and leave a comment. Yeah, how about this? We'll do this one. What's going to be a better match at Clash of the Castle? Leave this when the video's done. Leave this comment. What match is going to be better at Clash of the Castle? AJ Styles versus Cody Rhodes, or Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable? For Rob, I'm Ebel Russell Pierce, and I'll catch you guys next time.